From the savannah to the Midland and the Atlantic, Ambazonia has risen to fall no more. Ambazonia rise.
Dear Ambazonians on the home front and diaspora.
Dear Ambazonia freedom fighters in the home front and in the diaspora.
The Ethics Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is coming out to alert you that it is becoming more and more evident that the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonians, will soon emerge as the newest nation in the world.
We are calling on all of us to start preparing to receive Ambazonia as parents prepare to receive their firstborn child. Malcolm X said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are already very educated, talented, and very rich in natural resources. Do all this guarantee a safe and prosperous Ambazonia? The answer is an emphatic no. Theodore Roosevelt said, to educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace in society.
Ambazonians, it is time to start planning to restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic to Cameroon invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earned our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you prepared? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as a moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the Ambazonia Ethics Code and the Constitution?
All arms of government, do you have an ethics agency? Departments of DSS, HSS, Communications and IT, Education, DHACM, DFA and DEINR. Do you have ethics agency to serve as a moral compass for your departments?
Ambazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church, you are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of moralizing the society. How effective are you outside the church building?
Maya Angelou said, when you know better, then you do better. Ambazonians, watch Ethics for an Emerging Ambazonia every Friday at 4 p.m. Amba time.
Exclusively on ABC Amba TV. Stay tuned.
Good evening, good morning, wherever we are around the world. This is Peter tANSIE of the Ethics Committee. You are welcome to this Ethics for an Emerging Nation again. We take this occasion to welcome all those of us who are watching either from home front or in the diaspora. Whether you are on YouTube, you are on ABC, or you are on the Facebook, you are highly welcome. So welcome for the program of today. So this year we have been focusing on an emerging Ambazonia is spotlighting on ethical issues that are plaguing Ambazonia, both at home and abroad. So the more Ambazonians engage in discussions on ethical issues now, the better our chances of an excellent short transition period post recognition of our independence. Applied knowledge and the right mindset, I would repeat that. Applied knowledge and the right mindset, I say right mindset, is the most powerful force in building a nation. And that is just what we are doing to build a powerful, prosperous Ambazonia. As you know, there is no liberty without morality. So we are bringing the morality ethics committee is bringing the morality to this liberty we would acquire or when our independence is recognized. We are equipping ourselves with the necessary knowledge and molding. I say molding because the mindset, even if it's not the right one, we can mold it. So we are molding the right mindset during this period of war so that we get the right knowledge and the right mindset when we eventually get to Boya. So that is just what this program is all about. And especially this year, we are focusing on the things that plague, the unethical things that plague Ambazonia both at home and abroad. So before our being the host today, before our panelists comes on, I would quickly recap what the last program was all about. Still on those lines of unethical things, the last program was on leadership qualities in free Ambazonia. So what did we look at? So what are the good leader qualities? So they must be able to put the interests, the
Okay. Yes, dear Ambazonians, both at home and abroad, this morning we are going to be treating intergovernmental processes, how intergovernmental processes can be made to work for Ambazonians, how we will set up the Ambazonian government when we finally get to Boya in such a way that the government will effectively serve the people of Ambazonia. This morning, we want to bring to you what we are projecting to be the structure of the government when we finally get to Boya. We will have 3 tiers of government. You have the federal government, you have the state government, and you have the local government. All these 3 are governments. You have the federal government, that's the central government. Then you have the state governments, depending upon what the constitution will say, how many states will have, and then you have the local governments. And in each of these governments, you will have intergovernmental structures. The intergovernmental structures are the various departments of the government. You have the ministries, you have the state commissioners, you have the local commissioners running different parts of government. And these governments must be made in such a way that it functions together, and it must serve the people morally and intellectually and effectively, and deliver the services that our people deserve. That is what we're going to be talking about this morning. These intergovernmental services must be made in such a way that they coordinate with each other, they harmonize with each other, and of course, if it is the federal government, they harmonize and are managed by the President of the Republic. The President of the Republic is the leader of all the 3 governments. He is the head of state. And all these intergovernmental departments, whether it's federal, whether it's state, whether it's local government, they must be made to coordinate the services with each other such that there will be no confusion, such that the people will be served properly. What do I mean? The first order of the day, you know, we are the Southern Cameroons. In the days of the Southern Cameroon, we had what we called the civil service, the civil service commission. That commission will be one of the most important structures in each of these structures of government, whether it's federal, state, or local governments. The Civil Service Commission will be in charge of training, will be in charge of recruiting, and the only criteria for recruitment and admission into any of the training centers would be your competence and your morality. That is why the Ethics Commission is so important in an emerging Ambazonia. The whole structure will be done in such a way that the government functions from top to bottom and from bottom to top, and from center to the peripheries and from the peripheries to the center. Each part meant to function with cohesion. Everybody must be busy. And in order for us to make a difference from where we have come from over the last 62 years, we must know that you are recruited into the civil service to serve the people. You are not recruited to serve only your tribesmen. You are not recruited to serve only your brothers. You are recruited to serve every Ambazonian. And therefore, there will be zero tolerance on any kind of deviation from the moral compass of the government. That is why the ethics committee is so important and is bringing this to us so that we know that intergovernmental structures and processes are the most important part of the government. And each person or anybody working under any of these intergovernmental structures will know that they are there to serve the people. And they must coordinate with the various departments and report to the presidency if there are any issues, such that there will be cohesion from top to bottom. I think, Mr. tANSIE, that is what we are supposed to be talking this morning. I send the floor back to you, so because you were frozen and I couldn't, I had to start. So please take over.
Okay, thank you very much. And to our viewers, apologies for that hitch. You know, technology is meant to help the human being, but sometimes it doesn't work as it's supposed to be. So, yeah, as Barrister FRU has indicated, the topic of today is ethics and intergovernmental relationship in a free Ambazonia. So that the idea is the different parts of the government should work and carry out their function, but we should be able to talk to each other. And when they talk to each other, they are coming out with a framework in which facilitates communication and makes things very ethical for the for the whole country as such. So, Barrister, I didn't know how far you went about that, but one of the things we're to do is why is shared governance in Ambazonia practicing better than what La Republique is doing now in a highly centralized system where everything comes from Yaoundé? I don't know whether you address that or you want to address that now.
I want to address it now. We want to be ensured that we do not carry forward the evil, the bad behavior of a centralized government that we came from La Republique du Cameroon. We have to be sure that our government's intergovernmental processes function together in the service of our people. What do I mean by that? We have the federal government, the state government, and the local government. And in each of these governments, there are departments, various departments that must function together and in cohesion. You must perform your duty as that department entails, but you must also be attentive if there are any, if that you have to coordinate with other departments if you have to, in order to serve the people. And in order to do that, you have to be aware of what each department of the government is doing. For example, if you are in the public service, the public service is supposed to manage all the government functionaries. If you don't know what is happening in health, you don't know what is happening in foreign affairs, you don't know what is happening in other departments, you will not be able to coordinate your services, because the public service and the Public Service Commission are the central points of making sure that each department receives the staff that you are recruiting or training. That is not all. If you are in health, you must know that you must coordinate with other departments when it's necessary. For example, if you are faced with a legal problem in the health department, and you don't know how the Ministry of Justice functions, you will not be able to solve that problem. You have to coordinate with the Ministry of Justice in order that that problem can be resolved, so that we avoid litigation, we avoid all kinds of fight. Instead of serving our people, you go on fighting cases in court. And for the legal department, I am not going to talk about the legal department. I'm talking about Ministry of Health, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Forestry, Ministry of this or that or that or that. Each ministry has a function. How do we serve our people? First, we must the Ministry of Communication must educate the people of Ambazonia on the morality of the population. If you are a member of the public, you are not allowed to do any kind of influence peddling or any kind of corruption with any government functionary, whether it's a law enforcement or the services that are being offered in this or that department. If you need something, just go straight and ask. Do not do any kind of influence peddling because, okay, Barrister FRU is my countryman, I will go and see him and he will do this and that and that. No, we have lived through that and we are suffering the pangs of that. That is why if I was going to manage any of this department, you cannot speak your country talk inside the ministry. You will have to speak only the language of communication of Ambazonia, which is English. So that everybody, because not everybody stands your country talk. No influence peddling, no corruption. There will be zero tolerance on corruption and influence peddling. The intergovernmental services are meant to serve the people, and you must know that you are there to serve because your salary and your benefits are being paid by the people. And of course, the population must also know that they cannot influence anybody, they cannot bribe anybody to get services which they have already paid for. We have to be very, very careful in setting up our government structures in such a way that nobody will be above the law. Everybody must respect the laws of the republic. Whether you are the president of the republic, or you are a cleaner, or you are a member of the public, you must respect the laws of the republic, and there is zero tolerance on those who do not respect the laws of the republic. Whether the laws are in the federal government, the state government, or local government, you must respect the laws of the republic. I'll give a simple example for the local government. If a council area says do not litter, and you are driving your car and you eat and throw things outside, you are violating the laws of that council. You must be held responsible. Whether you are a minister or you are what, or director or whatever, you must respect the laws of the land. And that is what we are here today to educate our people, so that we start preparing our public, preparing the mindset of our public, preparing the mindset of those who are going to serve our government, so that the Ambazonian government intends to be an exemplary government in the African continent. Thank you, sir.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, thanks very much, Barrister. Thank you very much. So from your example and explanation, is it fair to say that the state of intergovernmental relationship, right, how that state is a very good one, determines the success of governance if they maintain a very high level of intergovernmental relationship?
Yes, I said yes, with emphasis. Because if you do not respect the rules of the game, you cannot play the game.
Okay.
You must do the work that you have been employed to do. If you are a medical doctor, you are employed to treat our citizens, you must do that. But if the head of your department or something happens that you need the intervention of another intergovernmental structure, like the Ministry of Justice or the Ministry of this or that, you have to be able to communicate with the other the governmental structure to get so that you can work in synergy to prevent any kind of misunderstanding, to prevent any kind of litigation, to prevent any kind of embarrassment to in the face of our public of our population, because the population deserves nothing but efficient services from you who is working.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
there will be civil service commission for the beginning is the civil service commission of the Ministry of Public Service. The Ministry of Public Service will be charged with recruiting all governmental functionaries from in all the intergovernmental services. What do? They train, they recruit. And when they recruit, they train. And when they train, they post you send you back to the ministries that you were recruited for. And they must follow up to know your progress. If they don't have any kind of relation with the ministry that you came from, they will not be able to follow up to see how you are working, whether you are working well or you are not working well, because at the end of the day, there will be what we call evaluation, and that evaluation will be sent to the ministry, to the commission to the Civil Service Commission for your upgrading or degrading, whatever the case. We intend to make the government of the Southern Cameroons and Bazonia a centerpiece in West Africa. We are not going to belong to Central Africa. We are part of West Africa. And we will make sure that all what we have been through should act as a lesson for us not to repeat it in any shape or form. We will have to all learn. Everybody that will be recruited will be trained to follow not only the rules laid down in your intergovernmental services, but also the morality and the ethics of how you function. Government services are paid by the people. And once they have allocated a salary for you, you do not have a right to increase your salary by taking bribe, because there will be zero tolerance on anybody who takes bribe or who proposes bribe. That is why the Ministry of Communication will take time and educate the population. Do not bribe a policeman, do not bribe a magistrate, do not bribe a government functionary who is saving you from all these three structures of government, federal, state, and local. The services they are giving you, you have paid in taxes. And so you deserve them. You don't need to do any kind of influence peddling or bribery to get services. The government that Ambazonia will have zero tolerance, and the Ministry of Justice will be prepared to prosecute anybody, whether you are whether you are the government, you are the president of the republic, or you are a minister or a director or whatever you are. If you take bribe or you practice influence peddling or what we call tribalism and so on and so forth. That is why intergovernmental relationship is so important in emerging Ambazonia. Thank you. Are you frozen again?
It appears she's frozen again, Barrister. So I'll just allow you to continue with the rest of the message. His internet is disturbing. Go ahead.
Talk about is constant education. Constant education of our population and also those who will be working for the various tiers of government. That is prepared and disseminated by the Civil Service Commission. The Civil Service Commission will work in synergy with the Ministry of Communication to ensure that everybody is educated on the functions of government and, of course, on the morality of government, the ethics of government, and what each and every player is supposed to do, including the population. If you violate a law and a policeman stops you to question you and to caution you or whatever he wants to do with you, you do not propose to pay to give that policeman something. The bare fact that you propose it's a violation of the law. You are trying to bribe a public functionary, and therefore you'll be prosecuted. We have to let the public know, take time and educate our people on how the government structures, which I will call the intergovernmental departments, will function in synergy in order to serve you better. And in serving you better, you must also respect the laws. Nobody is above the law. So that is, I don't know, the coordinator of this program keeps being frozen. So we don't know how, whether he has anything to say, but that is, so far, Pastor Commando, if you are listening, that is where I end.
Yeah, Barrister.
I will continue.
Barrister, I think
I will continue.
You should continue from the other points that you were to mention, so that we can try to bring back the coordinator into the studios. And I wanted to find out, this may be a side question. Are we going to concentrate only on English, or we should add Pidgin and some other very prominent Amazonian languages into our system? That is a side
Very good question. Very good question. We will have the English and Pidgin as a languages in Amazonia. Every Amazonian understands Pidgin. That is including those who have not been to school, and every Amazonian should understand English. We will not have the government services being run by people who come and sit and talk Makalana, Njilana, and all that. No. You must speak the language that everybody understands. If you either speak Pidgin to the person who is seeking your services, or you speak English if that person spoke to you in English. That is the way it's going to function. We have two major languages that Amazonia will be using, English and Pidgin English. The Pidgin English is meant to serve the population, but not in the offices. The Pidgin, let me repeat myself, the Pidgin English is meant to serve the population, but not to communicate with your colleagues in the government offices, because you are supposed to know English before you are recruited, so that you are efficient, you read the various programs, you make sure that you apply the programs that have been given you in your function in that department. So those two languages, Pastor Commando, English and Pidgin, will be the language franca of the Federal Republic of Amazonia.
Yeah, thank you very much, Barrister. The coordinator is still not coming to the studios, but I have these questions that he was to ask you. Let me find
Yes.
out from you, Barrister, from what we are talking concerning the future of Amazonia, because I really applaud what ethics is doing, teaching and planning before we get into the house, so that you build your house before you get into it, than to get into it and be struggling to build it. Now, let me find out. Governments interact with each other through certain processes and institutions. Can you give us some of the examples of the institutions and some of the processes that the government will interact with each other?
Listen, Pastor Commando, in every government, we are going to have 3 tiers of government. In every of these 3 tiers of government, you have departments of government. That's what I call intergovernmental services. You have in the federal government, you have all the ministries. For example, health, justice, agriculture, animal husbandry, and on and on. I wouldn't know, at least for now. They are there. Those are the intergovernmental services. The processes are the working of each of these departments. How do you work together to bring harmony, to harmonize government function? You must communicate with the other departments if need be. You must have a general idea as to which department is doing what. So that if you have a problem in your own department and you report to your boss and to your immediate supervisor, your immediate supervisor should be able to seek solutions from another department, another intergovernmental service that will bring solution to the problem that you are facing in your service. That is what I call processes. And those processes are done in such a way that there's harmony. The various heads of departments work together. And of course, every month or every 2 weeks, depending upon the schedule of the President of the Republic, there has to be what you call a cabinet meeting. That cabinet meeting brings all the intergovernmental heads, that's the ministers, together, and they discuss together and they harmonize together. They see the working of each department together, so that there will be no itches. That is meant to bring together efficiency of government, so that it will be able to serve the people properly. That is intergovernmental processes. And these are done within the confines of the morality of each participant. You do not do any kind of influence peddling because, the Minister of Information and Communication and Information is my friend. I can just pick up the phone and talk to him on something that may affect you positively or negatively. No, there are processes that you must go through. You must, first of all, call him and tell him, I have this problem. I'll be sending a memo to you on that problem. And you do a little memo. In fact, with the whole government is going to be computerized. Computerized in such a way that from one service to another, you just send an email and you get a response. We are going to run a modern government in such a way that every department is coordinated, so that the use of emails is going to be very, very rampant. So you send an email to somebody, and since he's on the screen, he looks at it, he replies immediately, so that there is no waste of time, because time is money, and the people will be served efficiently and morally. They must bring this question of morality, the ethics of government, into the functions of the Southern Cameroon's government. We have learned, we have suffered a lot in the La République du Cameroon because of the ultra centralized government that was tribalistic. They did things only among themselves. They didn't serve the people the way they were supposed to serve the people. You enter an office and you cannot speak French, or you cannot speak Ewundo or Bulu. You are stranded. No, no. And in the offices, I repeat myself, I keep repeating this. There are only two languages that you have to speak if you are serving the public. One, English. Two, Pidgin. Pidgin, I presuppose Pidgin if the person does not know how to speak English.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister. We are progressing, and from the ethical point of view and the answers that the ethics is giving to us, we are foreseeing a nation that has been jealous by the Western world for a very long time. If at this juncture we have such wonderful ideas and plans to put our government in place. Thank you very much. But then what should be done in a free Ambazonia to make sure that intergovernmental relationships are cordial and ethical? What disciplinary measures, or what are the things that the Ethics Commission is planning to have as a discipline, where you did mention that from the greatest to the least will not be exempted from this moral plan that Ethics Commission is planning for Ambazonia? Over to you, sir.
Well, I said nobody is above the law. Nobody will be above the law from top to bottom. Now, the Civil Service Commission will be charged with two things, with many functions. The first one is recruiting. The second is training. The third is discipline. Because in every organization you must have discipline. If a worker is unruly and creates chaos in the functions of any intergovernmental services, that person should be referred to the Civil Service Commission for discipline. Discipline can take the many shapes: one, warning, or two, dismissal, depending upon how it is set up. I'm not saying that we will dismiss people at random. No, we must first of all train our staff in such a way that they know what to do. They don't misbehave while in the office. But if for some reason anybody misbehaves in an office, in carrying out his functions, he's referred to the Civil Service Commission with a report. That's why I say every service from top to bottom will be computerized in such a way that communication will not delay. You want to report, if you are a supervisor, you want to report a member of your staff, you have to be able to send an email to your immediate boss, because you cannot jump. You go to your immediate boss, and from there to the minister, and if the minister finds that there is credence to what you are saying, it sends that person to the Civil Service Commission for discipline. That is the way the Southern Cameroon government worked, even when there were no computers. The Civil Service Commission was so well structured in such a way that they did recruiting, they did training, and they did and there was a service for disciplinary actions against government functionaries. And of course, if it will depend upon what you have done. If it is a case of violation of law, before you are sent to the police, you have gone through the processes in your department. From where you work, your supervisor, to your director, and to whoever, and then the matter is referred to the police, and you are suspended from work until that matter is resolved. If you have to go for trial or whatever, that is a different story. But all I'm saying is that there will be maximum discipline in the intergovernmental services.
Wow.
And everybody must respect the law of the land. Nobody, even the President of the Republic, must respect the law.
Yeah,
we intend to set an exemplary government in West Africa, in the Southern Cameroon and Amazonia. We want to bring back sanity into government so that the government can function well and serve our people who have paid for the services by paying their taxes.
Yeah, Barrister, when you were talking, I just felt that this may not just be a curve out from the Ethics Commission now. That is something at the back of the whole setup of the intergovernmental relationship with other departments. And you did mention it, that as it was in Southern Cameroons at that time.
Yes,
so I think,
of course,
because the outline of what the Ethics Commission is talking about is too deep to have been a new innovation or a new invention for the people of Amazonia. So I know that this had existed somewhere, but because of the unscrupulousness of La République du Cameroon, everything was buried. And once we get into our land, these virtues will come back and make our land great and great and great again. All right, thank you very much for that outing there. Now, the next question that I want to have you tell the people of Amazonia, as far as this, as far as the ethics concerned, Barrister, is to find out from the ethics, what role can the common man play in upholding of these institutions and of these departments and of the ethical values of the Amazonian government?
I have said it before. Before the government, as soon as the government starts, the Ministry of Communication has a role to educate the population on the services that each department would serve them, and to educate them against corruption, against influence peddling. The public should be made to know that this government is there to serve them, and that they have already paid the salaries of the people who are working here to serve them, and therefore they do not have to go through anything when they are asking for services. You come and ask for services, and it is an obligation for that service to serve you. The common man must know that he does not have to do anything other than ask for a service. The common man should know that he cannot violate law. He himself is under scrutiny. You cannot come and you start asking, when you want a service, you start asking, Mr. John no come work today. I want to see Mr. John. Oh, this and that. Oh, this and that. If you know there, I will come back. No! You have entered in a service, you want services. Put your problem to whoever you have met and you'll be served. You don't need to see Mr. John to serve you. You don't need to see Mr. Peter or Mr. Commando to serve you. No. That service is there to serve you. And if that service cannot serve you, they will direct you to the service that you will receive that service. That is if you have made a mistake to come to that service when you should have been, but in another service.
Okay.
Look, our people, our forefathers set up a government that worked for the people and only for the people. And we must maintain that legacy. We must set it up in such a way that that legacy is maintained. The only difference is that we are going to modernize communication system of government so that the whole government services are computerized in such a way that there is harmonious working of inter services and the presidency. If the president gives instructions, that those instructions should not take more than 1 to 2 hours to be known by everybody in all the services, because it's a computerized system, and that information will be disseminated in such a way that every service has that information, so that tomorrow if you do something against instructions of the head of state, you have violated that directive of that order of government. And that is the way our government is going to function. We are not going to tolerate any kind of mischief, any kind of influence peddling, any kind of bribery and corruption in the government services of Ambazonia.
Thank you very much, Barrister, once again. And we are extremely, extremely excited to have Ambazonians hear what the interim government is planning for the whole Ambazonia, especially at this time of technology, where technology has increased to the point that it was difficult in those days for all the government offices throughout the national territory to be informed on an equally and even information. Sometimes before the information leaves what they call the centralized place to reach to the suburbs of the same nation that's supposed to have the same function, things have been twisted and things have been changed. But now, with the present generation and with the knowledge of the IT, that's why every Ambazonia should be IT knowledgeable, so that when the presidency is holding a meeting for all the intergovernment departments, everybody will be there hearing it live. That is wonderful.
And let Pastor Commander, let me add, let me also treat another coordination from federal government to state government to local government. If there is a presidential order that involves the state governments and the local governments, it should be sent down immediately. And all the state governments and all like the state governors receive it and send it down to its services. The same thing, the mayors of the local or the chairmen of the local government areas, or you call them mayors or whatever you call them, they will be able to disseminate that information down to the local government area, where everybody will know that this is what is happening. The government says this and that and that. We are going to set up a government in such a way that there is no waste of time. Everybody functions. You have, when you come to work, you are not coming to work for 7.5 hours. You are working for 8 hours full. You must serve for 8 hours, and you must be attentive in your service, what you are supposed to do. And that is why in every service, and let me say this, it may sound very petty, but let me say this, in every service, at the entrance of every service, there will be a time clock when you come in and when you check out, so that we do not pay you for time that you have not worked. If they say a government service is starting at 8, you clock in at 8. Well, when they say you clock in at 8, if we cannot be that rigid, we allow you can clock in at 5 minutes past 8, but at least you are reasonably on time. But the clock must show when you came in, and the clock must show when you go out. We have to take time and really set up this government in such a way that it will serve the people, and the people will know that their money is being well spent. And of course, those who manage money will be scrutinized strictly. The accounting department is going to be staffed by very, very educated accountants to ensure that no penny trickles anywhere other than the service of government. Thank you, Pastor. Are we there? Hello, Pastor Commando.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best. The piece of cloth made in Ambazonia. A land brimming with history, courage, and the indomitable spirit of its people, a profound reflection of Ambazonia's collective identity and our unyielding struggle for freedom.
A full representation of who we are, what we are, the history, story, and the struggle. It's a piece of cloth you should have in your closet. It is woven into a rich tapestry.
We make machines, but sometimes the machines are dealing with us. Just one more point, and we will be
okay. We're back on.
I will be calling it quit. For now, let me go ahead and Barrister, I hope you are listening to me.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
There is this one thing that we often and always do on our ethics, and that is to have our ethic code made known. And today we are going to be looking at our ethics code, point number 3 and section 3, which says, let me read it from here. Our ethics code, which says, oh, hold on, yeah, this is it here. Okay. All right, point number 3 of our ethics code, number 3 says, and I read it out here very loud and clear for the people of Ambazonia to know what our ethics is all about. It talks of safety, assault, and obstruction of an official. Elected members and employees should always, as a priority, consider their own safety and the safety of their colleagues when undertaking their duties. If situation arises where it would be wiser to withdraw and seek additional support from trained personnel, then elected members and or employees should do so. In all cases, such actions should be immediately reported to the senior official as soon as it is safe to do so. Barrister, from this point, what advice, what comment can you make as far as this ethical code is concerned?
Oh, of course, the government functions are functions of organization, and there may be accidents. There may be some situations where it is not conducive for a worker to work. That worker should withdraw and report to his immediate supervisor of the hazards involved. And if a worker is wounded or is incapacitated by any kind of government activity, they should immediately seek the services of the Ministry of Health and the emergency services so that you'll be treated immediately. We intend to preserve our staff. We intend to give our staff maximum protection while at work in every sphere of government. Therefore, all services will have to have a system of prevention of hazard activities that may injure a worker or people seeking services. Therefore, when there's such accidents occur, we must withdraw immediately, close the service, and take immediate action for it to preserve life. Therefore, all government services will have to take that into consideration, and there should be no fighting. There should be no verbal altercation or fighting during services. That is a disciplinary issue. No worker should go into quarrel with his colleague while at work. If you have anything personal with your colleague, leave that out of the services.
Thank you very much, Barrister. I think with that, we come to the end of our ethics on the intergovernmental relations for today. You have a last word to tell the people who are listening to you so that we can quit and then call it for next time. Over to you, sir.
Yes, my dear compatriots, my dear Ambazonians, both home and abroad, we, a way of the interim government, intend to set up the real government within the 3 years that we will be functioning in Boya, before the real government is elected and so on and come into play. We intend to begin to institute services that will serve the people. We will make sure that we make services available to all Ambazonians, wherever you may be in the national territory of Ambazonia. This government is going to function just like the government that our forefathers left, but with more efficiency, giving our technological advancements and everything that technology has to offer. We will use it to perfect the government services to our people. That is why the Ethics Commission is so important, because we intend to rid all the ills that we have suffered when we were in La République du Cameroon. Thank you very much for listening.
And with that note, we come to the end of our program for today, and we ask that, don't miss it.
From the savannah to the Midland and the Atlantic, Ambazonia has risen to fall no more. Ambazonia rise.
Dear Ambazonians on the home front and diaspora.
Dear Ambazonia freedom fighters in the home front and in the diaspora.
The Ethics Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is coming out to alert you that it is becoming more and more evident that the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonians, will soon emerge as the newest nation in the world.
We are calling on all of us to start preparing to receive Ambazonia as parents prepare to receive their firstborn child. Malcolm X said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are already very educated, talented, and very rich in natural resources. Do all this guarantee a safe and prosperous Ambazonia? The answer is an emphatic no. Theodore Roosevelt said, to educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace in society.
Ambazonians, it is time to start planning to restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic to Cameroon invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earned our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you preparing? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as the moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the Ambazonia Ethics Code and the Constitution?
All arms of governments, do you have an ethics agency? Departments of DSS, HSS, Communications and IT, Education, DHACM, DFA and DEINR. Do you have ethics agency to serve as a moral compass for your departments?
Okay. Ambazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church. You are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of